Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Valcrest News Show. This is Tio speaking. Next to me, we got Simply Physics.
How's it going, everyone?
And yeah, today we're going to talk about the treasure hunt we just had. The
Ooh.
it was pretty sweet. The legendary axe of Altor. It was pretty cool. This was our first ever treasure hunt, and yeah, I'd say it went down pretty cool. How do you think it went down, Simp?
Man, I gotta tell you, that was the most grueling, taxing, interesting, insane, fun thing that I've done with my past 3 days. Man, it was definitely a new a new and similar experience for me in some aspects, but man, I gotta say that was definitely the most fun I've had in Minecraft in the recent days because the difficulty of the treasure hunt was like just how I like it and stuff like that. It wasn't like insanely hard, but it was hard enough to get your brain going and all that stuff, and you're going through all your possibilities on where things could be, and it's really it's straining your brain a little bit, but like that's how I think of like treasure hunts are. Like they're supposed to be like these things that aren't easy to find, and you really got to think in order to progress and end up finding the treasure.
That's awesome. And that really is exactly how it was designed to be. And I think a lot of people did get the same thing out of it. I mean, there was definitely a big adventure from what I hear. I didn't get to see it, unfortunately, but from what I hear, the ending was
Oh,
absolutely epic. Tell me about the ending. You were there.
the ending was insane. So here, basically, let's skip all the way to where I got to where the leading groups were. So I had, today I really buckled down and tried to get caught up with everyone, and I ended up doing that. And so this treasure chest was up way near the top of the world, like up near Y255, and there was a huge group of people that were all teamed up with each other sitting at the top. And here I am at the bottom with GridPod, and we're in a Skype call with each other, and we're like, oh, well, here we go, I guess. And like, we ended up getting some help from other people, and we made like it really felt like something you would do in factions. Like, for instance, like you get up in your sky bases, and there were like there was two sky bases. One was the one that had the chest in it that had the leading groups in it, and then the other one that had my little group together. And man, there were like TNT cannons involved in this, and there are arrows flying everywhere, and people getting knocked off at all different angles, and like we had a huge battle there
Insane.
between the two of us for I'd have to say a good 3 hours or so, and within that 3 hours, like the positions changed. Like for instance, we were the first ones to assault the top, and we ended up like gaining control of it like an hour into the battle, and we were trying to hold that area for a long period of time and before we got knocked off and stuff, and they destroyed our home points, and then all we had to go back up and do it again. And I mean, this just kept going on and on and on until eventually someone cracked the code on the chest. And well, it wasn't my group, but I have to say that it was a lot more fun than getting the treasure. Just like the battle and the strategies that had to go within the battle, and I picked up quite a bit of armor, so I'd say it was a ton of fun.
I just find it incredible that we had essentially four groups working against each other, and from the sounds of it, I think two, maybe even three of them all kind of met at the end at the same time. That
Oh
is
yeah, yeah. I mean,
unbelievable.
I skipped quite a few clues there, and I ended up just with them, and we battled it out until someone got it. And even after that, we battled for like another 5 minutes before everyone was just like, "Okay, we're done now. You guys got the loot. We're good."
That's awesome. And you know, I love how it was such an adventure like that. You know, there were so many things in between too, so many confrontations and so many. Oh, hold on, someone's calling here. I'm gonna. There we go. So many confrontations and so many different, you know, instances of mischief and just all kinds of crazy things along
Oh,
the way. Now, some people like that more than others. Let's be honest. There was definitely some mixed feedback, but I think overall this it stirred up total chaos
oh yeah.
in my opinion, in a fun way. Um,
Yeah, there was a lot of like cutthroat things going on, but I mean, you got to understand, everyone wants the treasure for themselves or to share it like within
uh huh.
their group of friends. So I mean, you're trying to do everything in your power to get there. Whether it is you have to, kill someone that you helped on the last clue, or you gotta like sneak around and grab the clue when they're not looking and go, or even like scam someone into thinking they're going to the right place and they're not. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's not cool and stuff like that stuff happens, but it's all part of the fun. And afterwards, I mean, I don't hate anyone. I actually created a lot of friendships through this whole process, and I respect a lot of players more now after the treasure hunt than I did before. I mean, it was
Yeah.
truly a fulfilling experience.
It's all in the name of fun competition, and that's really what this server is about. You know, we are all the, you know, we aim to be the best of both worlds. You know, we find that a lot of faction servers and a lot of competitive servers, they tend to not be like very like fun and friendly. They're just highly competitive, right?
It's all cutthroat there.
Yeah, and then in our server, we aim to still be like fun and friendly, but there's a big emphasis on competitive with us. So we do aim to have the best of both worlds, and this was an instance where it was just all out competition. Um, so great, so we can go back to the peaceful world now. You know, I believe the person that found it and got the treasure and then split it up was KDR. Am I correct?
Yeah, I don't know like what happened because we were all battling at the same time, but supposedly their group ended up figuring out the clue, and while we weren't paying attention, they went up and got the treasure and stuff. But man, congrats to KDR because no one had any idea where that last clue was,
Yeah,
and
that's
it was
amazing.
fun.
Well, and you know now KDR has something that you know he could choose to use that and it'd be a big advantage, or he could hang it up and really that axe he has is gonna bring so many memories and there's so much lore. We're probably gonna write a wiki page just on this treasure hunt alone. And something I just want to say real briefly for the record. This is just a quick tangent. Someone in the forums mentioned that you know these items are prone to despawning. That's actually not true. We've never had issues in our previous server with items randomly despawning. That's something, you know, people might point to that as the cause when in reality, I guarantee you, if something disappeared from your item frame, either a plugin took it or a player took it. None of our plugins should be taking stuff from item frames. I personally have a character that I play on that I have stuff in item frames and they don't just disappear. And what's great is we have a plugin, and we can use this plugin to detect both plugins taking it out as well as players taking it out. So if it does disappear, if you want to hang it in a museum, by all means, hang it in a museum. If it disappears, just file a ticket. We'll go over there, figure out why it disappeared, and we'll get it back there for you.
It's
So
almost like a warranty.
yeah, no, I'm legit giving you a straight up warranty on that. Of course, we'll have to figure out where the other one went. We're not gonna like suddenly give you a bunch of freebies, but you know, we can figure out if someone took it off of there or not, or if a plugin did it or whatever. So you don't have to worry about that. Feel free to hang it up, show it off to your friends, all that good stuff. It ain't going nowhere. So
It's definitely something to show off because man, was it a fight to get that.
for sure, man. All right, well, moving on here. So we are actually going to go through now and show you clue by clue how this works. That way, like you guys can kind of see what was going on behind the scenes, how all the clues worked, and what went down. So let's go ahead and get started here. I actually have home set at every single one of them. I'm going to go ahead and go into my perspective now. Simply, you can use the teleport command to follow me if you want to hang
Yeah,
out
I
with
wanna.
us.
Yeah, I
So
wanna come
here,
and see all this.
I'm going to just fly straight to clue number 1 here. So, right, so you get your first clue actually from the forum page, right? And here, let's here 1 sec. I'm gonna pull that up. You guys won't be able to see it, but I'm actually gonna pull up the treasure hunt, and we'll talk about that first clue. So, hold on here 1 second. The Axe of Altor. So, so the first one reads, long, long, long ago, in the raging wild seas of Valcrest, there was a merchant by the name of Robert Hunter. Captain Hunter explored the seas for the legendary axe of Altor. This was a magical, enchanted battle axe, far, far stronger than any other axe in the world of Valcrest, with extraordinary power. While searching the seas for this axe, Captain Hunter was robbed by a group of pirates. The pirates pillaged and sank the ship, but were unable to find the captain's hidden map. The map was sank, and his ship, and now lies deep beneath the seas. So, and then the next part, it just kind of shows a picture, and the next part reads, I know of a monk by the name of Charles. I think everyone, the whole server knows about Charles now.
Oh, jeez.
Who may know the whereabouts of this sunken ship. I have left you a map to Charles's island. It is in the grand ship. So, anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and leave off there. So, you go to the grand ship. This is it. Everyone figured that out pretty quickly. And this is kind of where it all begins, right? So you get this book, clue number 1, and you read it, and it says, Sailor's Notes. Charles the Monk's Island was found in the sea, close to the town that sounds kind of like soda. So right off the bat here, like, this is a pretty useless map, right? Like, this is just a sailor's note, and apparently he sailed by this monk, and it's close to a town that he doesn't even know the name of. So I did this to kind of give you something that's fairly easy to start with, but at the same time isn't a dead giveaway. These kind of clues, I just want to say for the record, are hard to make because there's kind of a line, and it's a very fine line where if you make it any easier, it's really just going to be a dead giveaway, but at the same time, this is just hard enough that it's, you know, people are going to have to think about it, right? So,
I actually have a question for you. Now, I just happened to see this when I went through here the first time, but what's Lumber doing over here?
well, you know, I actually kind of just randomly made this. I feel like Lumber should have some kind of presence in the spawn because he was kind of the, I mean, you helped build it too, don't get me wrong, but, you know, he's kind of one of the main builders. And I don't know, I just kind of thought it would be suiting to put him next to his main ship. When I see this ship, I think of Lumber, and I thought, you know what? Let's put Lumber somewhere in the spawn. This would be a great spot.
I actually thought that was like something to do with the clue or something, like Lumber had something to do with it. And like that threw me off at first because like, wait, Lumber's here. Does that mean something?
Yeah, no, it wasn't any clue. I mean, that's good that it threw you off, though. I love planting shit like that to screw with people, but no, so let's go ahead and go to the next clue. So it'd be home clue 3. All right, so we get to the island, which I haven't been here since, but I hear this place is pretty screwed up. Oh, wow, it's talk about screwed up. Yeah, they weren't kidding.
I gotta say, man, you didn't see this while it's happening, but someone decided to go all happy with TNT over here, and this island was absolutely destroyed at one point before it was regen by, you know, TNT.
I think Charles is going to have quite a surprise to come home to when he gets done with his camping trip. Like,
Poor Charles.
Wow. So, okay, so anyway, so somewhere over here, there actually used to be trees, believe it or not. And basically, so you go in here, and he says, if I'm not home, I'm probably mining in the mine next to my house. But you'd go over here, and his mine is actually covered with bushes. Is somewhere like, yeah, right here, okay? So you'd have to go down here, and you'd go down, and you'd explore, and basically this mine is nothing but a big maze. And this maze, which people have modified quite a bit since then, I left it open for modification so that you could break those bushes. That one really kind of came back to cause some problems, but Anyway, so as you can see, people have modified it quite a bit, but this was once kind of an organized mine with traps and NPCs and all kinds of goodies, right?
Oh
So,
yeah, I found Drago.
yeah, those who came from Ionia know that some of these were actually kind of some funny messages that I left over. There's a guy named Xerxes who the originals might remember. There's also a guy named Dragal. Dragal once was basically a he was like the server villain in Ionia, and he's the villain because he basically held up a strategic location in one of our treasure hunts. And so you can find Dragal down there. He was a pretty unpopular guy, and he's down there actually burning in a prison cell. Pretty brutal. So,
Well, oh, he was in the prison cell. By the time I got there, there was nothing left of the cell.
oh really?
It was just Drago sitting at bedrock.
That's funny. And there's just a bunch of other just kind of random NPCs as well. You got Ash here. And most of these are decoys. They were designed to screw with you and really make you wonder. I also set it up so that you would be thinking that you would be getting a book, when in reality your clue is an NPC. Okay, so I did that on purpose. There's books throughout here. One of them, wow, yeah, there was a prison here at one point. Now Dragel's just it's not even rendering him, but now it's just bedrock, and wow, they really devastated this place. Wow, that's really quite amazing. You can see Dragel's fighting for his clue, but anyway, so moving on here, there was a chest with a bunch of books in it that had YouTube links, and the YouTube links led to a Trollface video. And it's kind of funny. There were some people I think legitly thought that that was some kind of a clue. So I had to clarify to everyone. I actually clarified. I was like, guys, so I'm going to give you guys a hint. Here's a big hint, all right? And everyone, everyone's like looking in, and I'm like, the Trollface video, that's not a clue. That's not one of your hints. It's a pretty funny moment there. But anyway, so moving on to the next clue. So the next clue was this NPC right here. His real name is Gerald. I don't know why when you first spawn here it gives him a different name. But Gerald tells you through his text, you can see in the bottom left, he tells you that Charles is actually out camping in a local forest. He is deep into a local forest. Now, what a lot of people really struggled with this clue. This was probably the hardest one of all of them. Okay, and I really set you up to struggle with this one. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't mean to make it quite as challenging as I did, but here's the thing: had I made it a really, really close by forest, you probably would have found it really quick. I wanted this to be that needle in the haystack part, and I guess I really did that.
Yeah, I mean, my group spent well over a day trying to find Charles.
Oh yeah, well, Charles will be forever remembered in this server, and I think forever hated, to be honest.
The hardest man to ever find.
Yeah, he's pretty much the Osama bin Laden of Valcrest at this point.
Oh, jeez. poor Charles.
Yeah, poor Charles. He was just trying to get away and camp for a little bit. He's gonna come home to his house all blown up. But anyway, so the words here was what you really needed to pay attention to. He's deep into the forest. Deep kind of implies dense, right? It kind of implies like you're in kind of a dense forest. You're deep into the wilderness. And, he's a monk. Monks like to camp next to mountains. A lot of people don't know that. Sparks actually guessed that one, but then second guessed himself, and I couldn't even say anything to him. I just remained silent, but he said, I bet you he's out at like a deep forest, and it's probably right next to a mountain. And he guessed it spot on, but then he kept people kept saying otherwise, and he was like kind of second guessing himself about it. But yeah, so I put him deep into a dark oak forest next to a mountain where he's gazing at the mountain, and that's the next clue. So here we go. We're gonna go over to Charles. A lot of people were starting to wonder if Charles even exists. Oh, oops, wrong one.
Me too.
People thought that I was just trolling them. I promise you I would never do that. I might be a jerk, but I'm not that big of a jerk. So here we have Charles the monk. We finally found him, and this is where we end part 1 of the treasure hunt. This is a 2-part treasure hunt. So the first part is finding Charles, right? Now that we found Charles, he points us to the map. I guess it could
Oh,
actually be said to be a three-part hunt, because first you got to find Charles, then you got to find the map, then you got to find the treasure.
here, you should definitely, because I know everyone had problems trying to find Charles. I think that you need to show the coordinates on where he was and like
Okay,
the map and
here's the
stuff. Because
chords. Y'all can visit
man,
Charles.
yeah, come visit Charles. I mean, he's out here in this forest alone. He's pretty lonely. No,
So
I mean,
Charles is at negative 4,977 by 72 by negative 3,152. Those are his chords. You can come out here. You can maybe punch him up a bit. Fortunately, they didn't burn this place down, which is nice because it's really a nice forest. Oh, maybe they did. Oh, never mind. It looks like they did try to burn it down. That's okay.
yeah, that might have been my town's fault. Sorry.
It's all good. I don't see what the point was. It's kind of funny. The first person to find him wasn't burning down forests, just for the
Oh,
record. So
I started like chopping down one of the forests, and then I realized that it was going to be too long of a task. So I had one of my town members go grab flint and steels and start burning stuff, but it just happened to be raining at the time, so it didn't really work out well.
yeah, you got to give it up to South Park. He was the first one to find this, and yeah, I'm surprised he didn't solve the clue. I don't know what happened, but you always work better in a team, right? I guess the teams finally took down South Park, so. So, all right, let's move on to clue number 6. So, Charles is going to lead you out to this pirate outpost. And this outpost is just kind of in the middle of the ocean, not very big. But you walk in here and it's a bar. And there's all kinds of decoys in this bar. You've got all kinds of villager pirates out here, and some of them will talk to you as well. Like you've got I didn't make this, Balake made it, but it's a, what is it? It's that movie and book.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
No. The Great Gatsby. It's like a Great
Ah.
Gatsby reference over here. So for those of you who got that, yep, you can talk to Balake. But the real hint was from the bartender, right? You go up to the bartender and he tells you, we don't know where the map is. And, he kind of explains that the ship sank and there's a hurricane from all the nearby deserts and jungles and we had to flee to the north. And that's kind of your hint right here is we had to move to the north. This is where we exist. Therefore, it's south of us, and we know that there's nearby jungles and deserts. So, we could actually fly to it right now, I bet. Hold on here.
Way too fast for me.
Oh, sorry. I think my fly speed's like 1.5. Here, forget that. I'll just teleport there. Clue 7. So, this is actually one of my favorite parts. We took a ship and we made a sunken ship and I put it in a deep ocean. You can barely even see it. We covered the top layer with gravel. We kind of broke the mast a bit, made it look realistic. It made a few holes so that you could get in. And then you go down in here and it's almost graphic. Like you've got these skeletons that are floating, right? And then you've got down here, this was Balake's idea. You got the horse skeletons. Unfortunately, they didn't make it.
They really must have crashed into. Man, this might have been the Titanic or something.
Yeah, right. These poor merchants looking for this treasure. But here's the treasure. It's right here, and you get it, and it's these maps. But these maps, they don't tell you much. And this is where it's designed to switch to the hard part. Okay, so yeah, you can hear Simply. He loves this part.
I spent 2 hours trying to analyze the dynamic map before I even got close to finding it.
Well, and let's go to the next clue here. When you go to the next clue, of course, what do they say in the movies? X marks the spot. And I don't know if, let's see if the X is still, yep, it is. And what's funny is looking at the map, you'll see we're actually in the corner of it. So everyone probably, and I didn't even do that on purpose. I want you to know that was accidental, but it just worked out perfectly that way to make it that much more difficult. So basically my guess is everyone probably explored all these other islands knowing that there was no sign of any clue on them, but then they would stumble upon this one and there's X marks the spot. So you go down in here, and again, this is where it's designed to get tough.
I
Um,
spent most of my time underwater trying to find this.
that's funny. Well, you've actually got two clues here, right? So first you've got a new book. You've got clue number 8, which gives you just this. So the axe of Altor will soon be yours, but first you will need to ascend the parkour by the shores from the outpost of the Soda Town. You must descend to the south, then take a left, and you'll figure out the rest. This clue is psychologically challenging because it says to descend to the south and then take a left. I did this knowing that you guys would probably be looking at the Dine map, and you'd probably descend to the south, and when looking at the Dine map, the left is the west. But it's referring to when you're walking, you take a left when you're walking. You descend to the south and then take a left while walking, which would be to the east. Okay, if you're facing south and you turn left, you're going to be heading to the east. So this one's psychologically confusing. And on top of that,
This is
there's
my
a
favorite
Sudoku.
part. My favorite part of the whole thing was the Sudoku.
That's awesome. And so you guys know, for those of you who solved the Sudoku, this is not an easy Sudoku. I went online and found a Sudoku generator that has 27 different levels of Sudoku. Okay, this particular level was level 24, I believe. No, 23 out of 27. Okay, so this was near the top difficulty of Sudoku. It's not an easy one. You guys can pat yourself on the back for solving it. Great job there. And this Sudoku revealed, I think it was it was the X coordinate. So on the top left here, this 8 is the beginning of 852, which would be your X coordinate of where the treasure's at. Okay, so moving on here, we go on to the parkour. All right, or sorry, oops, how did that happen? I don't even have a home set at the parkour. How sad. How sad. Well,
Looks like we're gonna have to go find that.
yeah, yeah. You know what? All I'm going to say is this. This was designed to be a brutally difficult parkour, like something that'll just rattle your brains. Okay? And what's funny is someone figured out that you could bring elytras, and they figured out a way to fly from one point of the parkour to the end of the parkour using an elytra. So it turned out not to be quite as difficult as it was intended to be. So they were able to get that past that pretty quickly. And there was one final clue which basically said the end is near. Your last clue is the beginning of the end. Well, here's the beginning of the end, right? And it says in the clue it won't be obvious, but it will be near the beginning of the end. That's basically what the clue says. Well, here you have a location where it's the beginning of the end, but it's not necessarily obvious because you start out right here and it's like, okay, well, where's it at? So a lot of people really searched this, and it's kind of funny. Someone actually identified where the treasure was before reaching this last clue, but I was a step ahead of them. I password protected it so that you actually had to complete the whole thing in order to get the treasure. Okay, so they got to it, but they still couldn't get into the chest because they didn't have the password. So it was this like all-out race at the end to find this last clue, and then thus the the kind of ending that we talked about earlier in the video. So here's the last clue. This last clue simply reveals the Z coordinate as well as the password. So once you find this, you have the X coordinate, the Z coordinate, the password, and you go there and you'll find that the chest, and here we're going to go there right now.
I have to say, brace yourself, because it's gonna be a lot different.
Oh, wow. Wow. Wow, is it a lot different. So this was all like abandoned. And the treasure, everyone says, well, hide it in the ground. Well, I find that there's a lot more people hanging out in the ground than there are people hanging out over the ocean at 256. So this is where I decided to hide the treasure this time. It won't always be that way.
This is where the legendary battles took place.
And
And
as you can see, this was, simply tell us about it.
I have to say, okay, so if you can see me right now, this spot right here was the original platform that the leading teams, KDR's team, since we know who won at this point, was at. So, and it was a lot smaller than this, but basically, they were all down here on this chest, and they had like a little tiny area where they're all just kind of chilling and stuff. And um, and we were like, okay, so we got to do something about it. Now, the tower. Oh, actually, no, the tower's still there. So this over here was the tower that Leaf Pile had made because he was, he was helping us with the trying to like get them off the tower, and basically we were all like kind of packed in the little hole here, and he was like trying to like build his way across and stuff, and he got to about here before Grip just had the idea to toss an ender pearl over there, and well, he managed to get on the end of it, and the battle really picked up from there. But the entire point of the 3 hour long battle was who can A, hold this spot as long as possible.
Wait, this was a 3-hour battle?
Pretty much. I
Oh my
mean,
god.
it was.
What took so long? Were they like struggling to like get down here and get the treasure or something, or was it just like a
Well,
battle to defend the shit? Like I would have just like gotten the shit, T-spawned and went straight home.
well. Here's the thing: is that we all got here, and they're already here and stuff, but no one knew the password. Like, no one had any idea where the last clue was. Like, the group that was in front of everyone had like the clue 9, but like didn't couldn't figure it out. Like, supposedly from what I heard is that they had went to the end earlier, and they had searched like really hard and couldn't find anything. And I don't know how like they managed to get here, but like they were here like basically defending it from anyone who came and stuff, you know and basically the battle just kept going and going until someone figured out where the last clue was and got the treasure.
Man,
So I mean, it
that's
was really a battle to defend the chest, and hopefully no one figured it out except for the team that was like, you know, trying to defend it.
man, that is unbelievable. That's so crazy. I just can't believe it evolved into all that.
Yeah, you
Now,
can actually I don't know where you went, but
well, teleport to me. You'll see exactly where I went.
oh, well, you can see like you could see up here where that redstone was the remnants of a TNT cannon that was built.
Oh,
But
really?
oh yeah, there were, you know, okay, I see where you are now. Yeah, this staircase right here was the original one that Grip had made to try to go up there, but they were raining down arrows on top of us.
Come
Oh,
look at, come
what do
look
we
at
got
this.
here?
Come look at this.
That is so true. I
Right?
have to say, in that battle there was like at least 30, 40, 50 times that people died, or had fallen on this island and died, or got killed up in the sky. I mean,
This was a legit war zone right here. This was where we might even just, we're going to roll back most of these places for the sake of preserving the biomes, but I think this right here might remain as a memorial in general just for this whole treasure hunt. Like, yeah, I know some people are still salty about it, but I think in the future people are going to look back at this and they're going to remember the good, and they're going to, this is going to be a great thing. I really do believe so.
oh,
So,
actually, one interesting thing. If you come over here, you really see it because it's kind of gone now. But there was someone here who had the bright idea to try to set up a jump piston right where I'm standing to try to like boost themselves all the way to the top.
that
And
is
I mean,
crazy.
there were so many different tactics going on. There was people like using water elevators to climb up to the tops. I mean, there are people just straight up
Oh, I
building straight
wish I
up.
could have gotten this on video.
There were jump boosts. I mean, there were people flying off the islands to come down and attack people on the ground and stuff. And I mean, it was just an
Oh my
insane
god, that's
experience.
insane. All right, well, we got to wrap this up. This video's getting pretty long here. Hold on here. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. So, Now, as we have already kind of mentioned here, let's go back to the studio. Not all the feedback we got, as most of you guys know, not all the feedback we got was all sunshine and lollipops, okay? There were some people who weren't exactly happy with the difficulty and kind of the way we went about doing things with this treasure hunt. Now, don't get me wrong, a lot of us did have a lot of fun, and if you look at the poll for that, it's split pretty evenly, about 50-50. But we understand that there were some mistakes that we made, and I want to address those mistakes and let you guys know that in the future, we will be doing things to improve these treasure hunts for both parties. And we've got a lot of great plans to ensure that this, the negatives don't happen as much in the future. So a couple of things here. So the first one is this. We did not do enough to communicate exactly what we meant when we said it was hard. I did say this is going to be a especially difficult treasure hunt. It was noted in the thread, and that it's not for the faint of heart, and that it's all doable, right? I did note that, but I don't think I quite got the message out there. This was also our very first one, and I think it was a mistake to do a hard one on the first one. I probably should have just done a medium one, or maybe even an easy one, just to kind of give everyone a teaser. So my bad there, guys. In the past, we always made a lot of hard ones, and I guess I just my assumption, like, oh, let's just make a tough one. So my bad for jumping the gun on that. That being said, I mean, it kind of worked out pretty good because we had some pretty good adventures from it. But what we're going to do in the future is a couple of different things, right? So first of all, in the future, when we do more treasure hunts, we're going to divide all of them into 4 different categories, okay? Actually, sorry, 5 different categories. So treasure hunts are going to be divided between easy, medium, hard, extreme, and epic, okay? So here's what that's going to look like. So an easy treasure hunt is just going to be one where most players, you're talking mostly like easy and medium clues, and it should take a typical, like a good player, probably 1 or 2 hours to solve it, and it would take an average player probably like 3 or 4 hours to solve it. So that would be an easy one, and the rewards for that are still going to be decent. You might have a few diamonds, a few a couple stacks of some cosmetic blocks, other good building materials, that sort of thing. So the value that we're looking at for those rewards probably be somewhere in the range of maybe $5,000 to $25,000. Okay, we're talking game money for the record. Now, when we get up to a
Real
medium,
money.
Some people get confused. Rare, but it happens. So now, when we talk about a medium treasure hunt, okay, a medium one, you're probably looking at somewhere in the range of, I'd say, probably 6 to 15 hours for completion, okay? And, the difficulty is going to be higher. You could experience moderate frustration with these, and it could be a bit tough, but you're probably not looking at something quite as tough as what we experienced with this last one. You could also experience some pretty good competition with those. And the rewards are going to be higher. So when we talk about the rewards for a medium one, again, we're looking at like 5 to 15 hours for completion, okay? We're probably also looking at somewhere in the range of 5 to 10 total clues. So for one of those, the reward would probably be, maybe like some tools and weapons that, maybe one of them might be a god whatever, god sword, god axe, god pick. But it would have natural enchants on it. There might be maybe like 16 to 32 diamond blocks, some gold, rewards of that caliber. So in all, you're probably looking at a total value of something between like 25 to 100K for a medium treasure hunt, okay? Now, once you get to a hard treasure hunt, this last one that we did is the hard category. With that one, you're going to get a lot more warning going into the future, okay? So what we're going to do is it's going to be like written really freaking big on the thread. This is a hard treasure hunt. Do this at your own will, okay? And whenever we post a hard one, we will couple it with either an easy or a medium one. That way, you don't feel left out of the treasure hunt. And if you don't necessarily want to do a hard one, then you could work on the easy or the medium one. Okay? Um, but we will continue to post hard ones. They will exist because there are people who do like those hard ones. Simply likes them, Sparks likes them, South likes them. There's a lot of people. I mean, you can see the poll. Again, it was about 50-50. So the hard ones are the ones where you're going to get some custom enchants. Usually you're looking at maybe one item with a custom enchant on it. And you're looking at somewhere in the range of 10 to 20 clues that are going to vary between easy, medium, hard, and usually you're going to have one super hard clue. Okay? In this last one, we actually had two super hard clues, and then the rest of them were like hard to medium. So that's kind of what you're going to be looking at in terms of hours of completion. You're generally going to be looking at somewhere between 16 to 48 hours to complete a hard treasure hunt. So that's something that should be expected. And again, all these things are going to be noted very clearly in the threads so everyone will know what to expect. And again, if you don't want to do that, you'll have the option of doing a easy or a medium one on that same day. So, and then when we talk about extreme and epic, well, extreme is it's just a step up from hard. In that case, you're looking at a really big treasure. You're looking at a treasure with a value of somewhere in the range of probably 250K to possibly up to half a mil. The extreme ones, you're looking at, now we're talking like weeks to complete. Okay, these are going to take a long time. These are for the hardcore, like kind of no life in it players. Okay, and these players are going to really earn their treasure. These are going to be ones that are designed that, maybe they won't even be completed. Like, you know what I mean? Like if it's an extreme one, then we're going to design it so that, maybe they won't ever find the treasure. And then if you do find it, yeah, again, you're going to be, it's going to be a treasure loaded with loot. Okay. So it's going to be designed for the hardcore players. And then finally, epic. Epic is something that we're probably only going to do once or twice per year. These are going to be really rare hunts that are going to consist of long chains of clues that are going to take, and they're going to happen in other worlds that will be custom made. And the difficulty for these will be absolutely absurd. Again, this will all be warned about. And these will probably include as much as 50 or 60 clues. Okay, these are going to be things that we spend a long time working on, and they're really going to be designed so that they could be like the server mystery, and it'll take months to complete these treasure hunts. Okay, so
Anyone, like that's like one of those things that it could be the point, come to the point where like anyone ever could like do it. Like for instance, like let's just say that it's like a month, kind of like a month long thing, and the generation of players are just like it's just not worth it, and then the next generation of players are like, oh man, I'm gonna go find that treasure for myself, and it's just one of those things that can transcend time.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, these, we do plan to probably, maybe, and this isn't an official announcement, but we're speculating maybe one sometime this summer. But these are going to be something that we put a lot of work into, and they will be a feature in the game much, much later in time. But don't worry, we're going to make custom worlds for those ones. That way people aren't, like, burning down the whole server in order to find the clues, okay? So, and again, I can't express it enough. All these things will be more effectively communicated in the future. And anytime we make one that is hard or above, we will couple it with one that is medium or below. So there will be something for everyone, and there will be no need to get upset because it is too difficult. So, anyway, is there anything you have left to add, Simply? I mean, we've gone over a lot of shit.
Oh, for those epic hunts, what kind of value of treasure are we looking at?
Oh, yeah, that's definitely worth mentioning. I'm talking the kind of treasure that it would be worth months and months to find. The kind of treasure that would set you apart from your peers and make you one of the richer players in the server. It's probably not gonna make you the richest, depending on when you find it, but it will set you apart. They could be over a mil.
Ooh,
Yeah.
jeez.
Yeah. Yeah. Like
That,
it might be a full you might get a full suit where the whole suit has a custom enchant on each of the suits. Now, we do have to be careful not to make. We don't ever want to make someone elite, like overpowered. Like some people speculated that the axe might be sharpness 8. The reason for that is that it wasn't sharpness 8, it was sharpness 6, is because if we gave someone a sharpness 8 axe, that person would be pretty much unstoppable. Okay? Sharpness 6, you can beat someone who has sharpness 6 with a lot of skill. They're going to have a big advantage on you, but with skill, you can still beat someone who has sharpness 6. Okay? Sharpness 8, nah, you don't really need that much skill to win when you got that.
just gotta
Um,
hit them.
so we don't want to set anyone up to be overpowered in our server, so we'll choose the the treasures carefully, and I can't say exactly what it will be composed of, but I will say this: you find the treasure of an epic hunt, and let me tell you what, you're going to be loaded, and I mean absolutely loaded.
Man, that's just so exciting hearing about it.
Yeah, it's some pretty cool shit, and we might even make. And this is also just speculation, not an official announcement. Feel free to give feedback on it though, but we may at some point make kind of some sub ranks. Maybe not a whole family, but maybe some sub ranks for treasure hunting. Who knows? So cool. Well, do you have anything else to add? Simply.
I just really wanted to know what that treasure was gonna be like. But yeah, I'm pretty sure we covered everything there. And just like some final comments on that treasure hunt, man, it was well worth the time I invested in it.
Awesome. Yeah, I would say the same, even though I didn't participate. I think
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun watching people doing it though.
yeah, I definitely saw a server full of people who were on a mission for the last couple days, and it was entertaining. You know, I'm sorry to those who I pissed off, but I think it was good. So, all
I'm with you. I'm with you.
right, guys. Well, that was a good news show. Until next time,
See you guys.
see ya.